intro?
I was going to intro with the thing I just thought of, but I'm forgetting what it was very quickly. What were we just talking about?
Somebody asked you what the worst game...
Oh, yeah, so it was related to Big Wow Big. That's why I wanted to bring it up. So, first of all, welcome back to Closing Shift.
Hi.
I am your host, Emmy, and this is my thwartful sidekick, Mia. And
I thought you were just going to stop it there. It's like, this is my... It's like, yeah, close enough.
Yeah, this is Eyeball, and welcome back to the show. We are running off of a... Well, how many hours of sleep did you get? Because...
Yeah, I got like pretty close to 8.
So we're running off of a total grouping of 9 hours of sleep then. And if you don't pick that up, that means that I got 1 hour of sleep a few hours ago. We're recording this in like the early afternoon EST.
Because we are the EST.
We are the EST, true. We are Bianca and Bel Air. We're just talking about the Steam Summerfest thing, and I went on the page and just happened to notice...
Was not Steam.
What?
Talking about the Summer Games Fest.
Oh, I was looking at the Steam Summer Games thing.
Oh, I was talking about the Jeff Keighley thing.
Oh, well,
I didn't know you were... It's not like a Steam-specific thing. That's like... I didn't know what you were talking about. Continue.
Well, the video of him is at the top of this, so that's what I thought you were talking about. Anyway, I went to the page for the Steam Summer Games thing, and Sonic X Shadow Generations was there, and it reminded me of a moment I had on my Twitch stream the other day where somebody asked me what the worst game I've ever played was, and I had to think about it for a while, because I haven't played a game that I didn't like in a while, and then I was like, I thought back to Big Wow Big, because there's a lot of good examples there.
We played some stinkers.
So I was like, probably Sonic Generations, or sorry, not Generations, that is not the one I was talking about. Probably Sonic Unleashed, and they were like, what? I love Sonic Unleashed, and I was like, that's great for you, but I fucking hate that game. And I also, could have said SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. I did list that one. I don't really think Disney's Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse is one of the worst games I've ever played. I think objectively it's a terrible game, but it was a fun experience.
It's funny bad.
So I kind of like, yeah, it's like so bad that it's funny. It can at least entertain. Like, we couldn't even stomach SpongeBob Flying Dutchman to finish it.
Disney's Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse is kind of our The Room, where it's like, it's so bad, but like you have to experience it. And it also did really well for no reason.
It was very funny. Yeah, just having Mickey Mouse in our like titles for all those videos made our videos blow up. I think the most popular video was the second to last episode. It had like 2K views or something. So that just reminded me of Sonic Unleashed and that whole series and gave me trauma flashbacks. And I also, I even went to the effort actually to pull up that famous between probably just you and me clip from the beginning of that one Sonic Unleashed episode where we were trying to find out where the Lightspeed Dash shoes were, and we Googled it. And we found out they were in a place we hadn't even been to before, but you needed them for a place we'd already been to. So you had to like go back, and Sonic Unleashed just like forcing you to replay a bunch of the game against your will.
Yep.
And I went off on a whole tangent about it. And it's a great clip. It's on the Big Wow Big TikTok. If you want to go watch it there, you can watch it. It's like the Sonic episode with the thumbnail where he's like screaming in it from the cutscene at the beginning of the game. Yeah. I don't like that game. I also got lazier with the thumbnails as the series went on because I hated it. But, man, that game fucking sucks. I honestly would argue that I had a better time playing SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. But to be honest, that game is pretty much just as bad for me because the quirk that game had was you listened to the same song for like a 4-hour recording session, and it sucked. It was like a really annoying song, and it was for like 4 hours.
I remember when we were in the construction site area, and there was that like superhero theme that was just going on over and over and over, and it's like the most infuriating platform that you had to do, and like a really weird puzzle of like pushing stuff around into a pit.
Oh yeah, and I couldn't even figure out that you were supposed to push the stuff. The other thing I remember specifically is every time we came out of a loading zone, one of us would start with the music going, brr, brr. Yeah. And it was just haunting. It was just terrible. Yeah, so anyway, do you have a worst game you ever played, or at least worst game you ever played on the channel?
Worst game I ever played on the channel?
Yeah, if you have a worse game you played on Big Wow Big. You didn't really play. I was usually the one to jump into bad games immediately.
Yeah, because I played a lot of like safer games that I already like knew I liked typically.
Yeah, the whole dynamic of Big Wow Big was I was the angry one and Mia was the one that was good at games. Pretty much. Mia would usually only get mad when I provoked it. That was our silly little situation for the 3 years we did that channel. You know, Big Wow Big is over 4 now. Never mind. No, it's over 3.
It's not. But
no, my God, it's not. But that's crazy. It's 4 years old. That's nuts.
Oh my God, I can't believe that our child can vote when they actually can and not right now.
I can't believe they can legally smoke and drink and drive at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think I really played anything like terrible on Big Wow Big. There's nothing that like I played that I was like, oh, this is fucking miserable.
Let me pull up our channel just because it might remind me of something, but.
Even the ones that like you hated and thought were absolute dog shit trash, I was like, nah, this is pretty good. Like I remember Man Eater, which never made it to the light of day, because I was like, we recorded that like right before trying to do a reboot.
When we were playing Man Eater, I was just like, I don't know how to commentate over this fucking game. This makes no sense. I just remember being so frustrated.
Yeah, it's just a fucking shark going around and just doing shit. The game was like, it was, I think because it was just utter bullshit nonsense that I was like, oh, this fucking rules.
Oh my fucking God. I can't believe you don't remember how awful Zelda 2 was. That has to be one of the worst.
Zelda 2 was probably like the worst time I've had on Big Wow Big for that. Well, no, because Sonic Unleashed still exists and I had to witness that. But we're like,
terrible.
Thing is, I don't hate Zelda 2. Like, it was miserable at parts, but, like, I don't think it's a bad game. I'm still willing to go to bat, at least somewhat, for that game, because I know for a fact that if, like, I've said it before, I think I even said it in the series, it's like my Elden Ring problem. It's like 10 times more fun to play when you're not doing it for content, and you're okay running back to a boss fight for, like, 4 minutes.
Yes.
But when you got that time pressure of just, like, oh, I'm wasting other people's time when I lose this so much.
I did indeed forget about quite a few of these games. I forgot that we played Spider-Man 2 for 4 episodes and that game sucked ass, so I didn't want to play it anymore.
I remember that really fondly because I was loving that series because it was also just nonsense and Spider-Man. I was like, haha, this is awesome. And by the end of the 4th episode, you're like, can we please be fucking done with this?
I would think to myself every night after playing games like SpongeBob and Sonic Unleashed, like, a gun's probably not that expensive. I could probably do it. I was going to talk about also Super Mario Sunshine's an odd case because I don't think it's a bad game objectively by any means, or even in my opinion, but I really, really don't like it. I don't like how completely different it is from every other Mario game that came before it or has followed it, which pretty much in terms of 3D was just Mario 64 before. But everything that has followed it went back to the revolutionary controls Mario 64 had and expanded upon those, and that was better. Mario Sunshine with the flood thing fucking sucks, especially when they do the levels where they take away flood that are basically just like alpha Mario Galaxy levels. I hate it.
They do the concept of flood really well in Mario Odyssey with like one of the captures. I think the thing with Mario Sunshine is that it is a good game and it is well made and it has like a lot going on for it. But it is objectively the least polished of all of the Mario 3D games.
It's just so fucking hard to play.
Like, Nintendo would not, like, publish a game, like, well, they probably could, but Nintendo would not make a Mario 3D platformer today that has the, like, janky physics and, like, glitching hitboxes of the pachinko game.
Yeah, true. I also was looking through these thumbnails, and it's funny how some of them are, like, really good, and some of them were like, I can't do it today. Like, for example, the episode called Mario's Going Turbo, the thumbnail is literally a white thing that just says, I'll make a better thumbnail later. And I actually meant to, and I never did. And then there's the one with R-Truth, which is pretty funny too.
My bad.
I think the thumbnail for today is July 7th, 2023 is perfect.
It is funny how, like, back to Mario Sunshine, like that series with that R-Truth moment, that serves as like a nice little like milestone, a little like commemorative thing of the moments right before I knew much about wrestling, because it was like right immediately after, like, you started with that R-Truth clip and showed that to me and I was like, oh, that's funny, And then, like, from that clip, moving on, you started showing me more clips and started telling me more about wrestling, and now here we are, and I actually, like, am interested in it. Like, that's the catalyst point right there, is that little, my bad.
It's great. It's a recorded moment in history. I also just realized that episode where I went on that super pissed off rant was the last episode of Sonic Unleashed, which makes a lot of sense. Our Sonic Unleashed series did pretty good, actually. The first 3 episodes have a lot of views. Mainly the third one having almost 300 views, which is pretty crazy. I never really understood why that video did well. It got all those views pretty quickly after it was uploaded. And I don't really know why, because it's just called Sonic Saves Missouri, and the thumbnail's not crazy. It's just like Sonic running and a red arrow pointing from him to Eggman. I don't really know what's crazy about it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully, comfortably trust a Sonic game that is like around that time period ever again, in terms of playing it and investing my time in it. I have a lot that I like about Sonic.
Mainly his feet.
I also just don't want to deal with him. And the fact that I don't have to makes it a lot easier.
I think that Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the coolest, most fun characters trapped in a shitty franchise.
Yeah, definitely. I also have never forgotten in the last 3 years that my favorite episode of Sonic Generations is Mia Carries the Conversation, that episode where I was doing the Vex minigame with the music note. And that, what is that move called?
Spin Dash?
Homing Attack?
Homing Attack.
Homing Attack? Yeah, that's what I meant. That's a good episode. I recommend that episode. I actually think in my playlist, Cosmic Emerald's Best Videos, I think that video is in there. So yeah, Big Wa Big turned 3 in April, like 2 months ago, and we might come back just to play Sonic X Shadow Generations.
I think that would just be funny.
That was what we were talking about before stream. I was like, what if we came back just to do that one thing? Just to do that one series, play the game through, and then never come back to Big Wa Big.
Tom Petty's final farewell tour.
It would be pretty funny. We could also do it somewhere else, but I think what if we just did it on the Closing Shift channel? That would be kind of funny. Just use it for that only in the podcast.
Just transpose the theme song, our intro, up like 1 key.
Could probably make a much chiller intro. Use like the brick wall and smoky background. Just do Big Wa Big.
Yeah.
But Closing Shift defied. It also still says NASA certified #1 YouTube channel.
And we still are, yeah.
Which was, a record we still uphold.
Well, we're like CM Punk. We walked out with the title.
We walked out with the title, and we'll never let it go.
I have some good media that I consumed over the past couple days that I would like to recommend.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to listen to it. I fully forgot we were doing the podcast in that silence just now. I 100% forgot it was happening. Anyway, please continue.
I watched for the first time a couple days ago Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about it.
It is a really, really good movie. Like, it is a movie that, like, throughout the entirety of it, there was no point in watching it that I was like, oh, I don't really like that, or this doesn't make sense, or, like, there was no moment that I was ever disengaged with the movie, because it is always just fucking, like, it goes from 0 to 100 immediately, and then it just stays at 100 for, like, the entire time. It's just badass. It's just fun. I think my favorite thing about it is that it's, like, there is a deeper story that is happening in Mad Max Fury Road. There's like a deeper lore, and there's an interesting story, and there's complex characters. This really cool world. But for the sugar coating of that pill to consume all of that lore and all that story, there is an average of like 5 explosions per minute. It's fantastic.
Incredible.
And there's a second part to this recommendation.
Oh, my Lord.
This talking about media, rather. It's not really much of a recommendation. I would recommend Mad Max Fury Road, and I want to go see Furiosa now. But last night, I was like, okay, I really like Mad Max Fury Road. I want to see what the rest of this series is about, because I want to like just kind of get into this thing now. This is cool. And Mad Max Fury Road is like 0 to 100 within 2 seconds. Original Mad Max gets 0 to 40 in the course of about an hour, because it was made in 1979.
Oh, God.
So it's ideas of action and, like, everything. It's, like, way more, like, all of your standard turn of the 80s kind of plot line type of stuff. It's, like, very, very much like, yeah, this is 1979 that this movie was made for an action movie. It's still good. I would still recommend watching it. It's still good. It's still interesting. But it is like, you can really tell that it's like, yeah, that's the difference of about 40 years on that makes of it being more interesting.
You can like smell it.
And it is also funny going from Fury Road back to original Mad Max, because I still have 2 more movies I need to watch in the series. That's Mad Max 2 and it's technically not called 3. It's called like Thunderdome or some shit like that. So I have like those 2 to watch to like still catch up, get up to speed on Mad Max. And I'm like, okay, so at some point in these next 2 movies, we are going to go from like, it's post-apocalyptic. We are going to go from Mad Max 1, gloomy day in Australia, just overcast, and that means it's the post-apocalypse, to straight up Fallout New Vegas, there's ghouls roaming the wastelands. Like, how do we reach there? I gotta find out.
Our generation will turn the world into overcast. I've never seen any of those movies, so I wouldn't know. But I'm not opposed to watching at least Fury Road. I'm in a mid kind of pause point in trying to consume new content. I'm not really, I mean, I haven't for a while been looking to consume anything new. I'm kind of stuck in creating what I'm creating and also consuming everything I'm consuming already anyway. It's kind of relaxing. It's kind of grounding to like know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
When it comes to all this crazy internet stupid shit.
That's how I am most of the time.
Yeah, me too. I'm just like, I know what I'm doing. Got my fucking books lined up to read. I'm pretty much only watching One Piece, and I'm creating so much content.
Just gotta make it, yo. I have other media that I have now consumed. Because I was already, like, a little bit into Oasis, and I'd heard, like, some of their stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, and there's, like, some interesting stuff there. But then recently, for whatever reason, I guess because drama just always does well on the internet, but TikTok got wind of the, like, sort of fallout of Oasis that happened literally, like, 13 years ago. Mm-hmm. Because everybody all of a sudden on TikTok was talking about this ancient beef, then I was like, oh yeah, Oasis is a thing. And so I was like, well, now that I'm thinking about Oasis, let me go back and listen to, like, more of their music. So I listened to their first 2 albums back to back. While I was mining obsidian to play a little prank on Boomer. And I'll just speak on that briefly, that I put a 10 by 10 by 10, which is about 1,000 obsidian, a solid cube of it floating above his house.
Dope.
But I was just listening to that while I was doing that mining, just grinding. And I liked it. I'm not the biggest on the first album. I think the first album was good. I was just like yapping to this to Emmy like right before. I think the first album is good. It's not perfect. It gets really repetitive, but it has some interesting concepts that they iterate on in other albums. And you can tell that when you go into What's the Story Morning Glory, that you can hear those themes and they're like better developed. They have a more iconic sound by the time that you get to Morning Glory. Like, they're very defined in their sound. Everything is a lot more unique. Every track stands out better, and there's a lot more... It's more consistently great on that album, and I think it's good. And if you aren't really into... If you only know Oasis as the Wonderwall people, I think that's doing a massive, massive disservice to Oasis, because they have some amazing things. There are some songs on... Okay, so there's one song on Definitely Maybe that I'm like, damn, if this didn't have, like, so many swear words in it, this could have been Wonderwall before Wonderwall. And then even on Morning Glory, I'm like, there's a bunch of songs in here that's like, if the culture was just, like, a little bit different at the time, like, because it was, like, Wonderwall popped off because it was, like, right in the perfect trifecta intersection of, like, rock starting to fade away, pop and alt starting to rise up. And it was, like, right in that little, like, trinity point. And that's why Wonderwall did so amazingly. But there's, like, a couple other tracks on Morning Glory that I'm like, if the culture was just, like, shifted a little bit more towards rock at this moment, then these would have been, like, the smash hit off the album.
Right.
And that's what I have to say about Oasis. I'm also still trying to find, like, any documentary about Oasis that actually, like a sort of post-mortem about it. Because I do want to catch up on some of the, like, basic premise of, like, a lot of the drama that's happened between Liam and Noel Gallagher. Because they're both a bunch of dickheads.
Bunch of dickheads.
They're 2 brothers that made a band and then couldn't get along and were one of them was a dickhead to the other, and now both of them are just flinging shit at each other until eternity.
Nice. Love a good classic family fight. Sometimes you gotta fight with your blood.
Bloodborne.
And people aren't born with blood. That's true.
Yeah.
I think.
Nah, I was born with Baja Blast.
I was born with prime energy.
Oh, well, you get all the lead that you would ever need in your blood, like right from birth. Well, it's not lead in Prime that they found. It's PFEs, which basically means that, like, if you at all were a regular drinker of Prime Energy, you were kind of just like eating a non-stick pan.
Nice.
It's really cool, and that's those chemicals that literally can never leave your body and never break down.
You should buy the Prime powder and stick your Fun Dip in it. Because it'll be funny. Knock out 2 for 1.
I feel like there's not enough done with the concept of Fun Dip. I know there's a Mexican candy that does more with the concept, and it's like it has like more of like a spice thing to it. But there should be more candies that lean into the gimmick of Fun Dip.
That's fair. I haven't even thought about Fun Dip in like years until I just said it.
You remember Baby Bottle Pop?
Yes, I do. I was all over those candies as a kid. Those little candy gimmick things.
They tasted good. I do feel, though, like, it's weird to look at it in retrospect of, like, what it is and what all the marketing around it always was. Like, all the advertisement, like, people turning into babies and shit like that. It's like, this feels like, it feels Schneider-esque.
Schneider-esque.
It's just like, it's a bit weird, whoever came up with this. Wanted people sucking on baby. Because, okay, this is the thing that you gotta understand about a Baby Bottle Pop. A baby's bottle is modeled after a nipple. Like, the shape of a baby bottle is modeled after a tit.
We're going there.
So when you are eating a Baby Bottle Pop, you are eating a candy tit. And this is like a popular candy for children.
Well, you're eating a candy bottle that's modeled after a tit.
Well, yeah, it's a candy tit.
Yeah, I guess.
That's just okay.
I think so. I don't think anyone really feels like calling them out on that.
All right. Sure. It's kind of weird.
What's wrong with a good old candy tit?
What's wrong with a good old tit sucking?
Who's it hurting?
It's just kind of weird.
I'm a big fan of, like, all the different things. Not so much Baby Bottle Pop, but, like, I like ring pop and, like, blow pops and stuff. I like the pop things.
Oh, yeah.
They're just, like, I just like fruity flavors. Like, when I used to vape, what I enjoyed about it was like the act of smoking, but it went down lighter and it could be fruity flavors. It was basically like candy for an addict.
Oh, yeah.
And it was good. It was unhealthy, but it was good. And that's why I quit.
That's why it got so massive. Why it's such a huge issue now is that it is basically just candy.
It's delicioso.
What was really great about you saying that was how Discord really like mangled the audio in that moment. So it sounded like I dug up a hologram in like Fallout.
Nice.
Like
it was like Jar Jar saying it.
Yeah. Jar Jar's the funniest character we've ever had.
You know, it's a stream idea I do have that I want to do. I forgot about is I want to do a stream. I was gonna make it a charity stream. I haven't planned it further than concept though, where I play through all 5 of the first Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Hell yeah.
I honestly have seen someone play through like all of them and it didn't take nearly as long as they thought it was going to take. I don't think it would take me as long as it's going to take, or as I would think. So I haven't gotten past the concept stage, but I also just started taking streaming more seriously like today. So I'm not really that far into it yet.
Day 1, it's just me, oos.
True. It mainly started yesterday. My biggest content move going forward is I'm making a pretty much all-around content schedule, but mainly a streaming schedule. I'm going to stream like the same 5 days a week at the same times on each day. And it's going to be lit because I am weirdly enough, it's not only that like me Twitch streaming is covering every other social media, including like YouTube videos, it's also that I'm enjoying editing and streaming at the same time, which has also never happened. So it's never been so balanced and going as well as it is right now. So I'm going to take advantage of the hype, and I also don't want the momentum to fall off because that is usually what ruins it every time. And I am better
Things have never been more based than they are right now.
I'm going to fucking kill it for the rest of the year.
And by it, I mean you.
No, I mean it.
We're talking about it.
But mainly why I got 1 hour of sleep last night was because I've had all this shit running through my head. But I'm gonna do like a 3-week trial period of this stream schedule and kind of like analyze how it's going. My sister is helping me work through all these plans. But if I can get a stream schedule down for the rest of the year, then I'll be fucking gold. I'll be solid as fuck.
Yeah.
And then I can grow my platforms. And then I can become rich and famous, and I will get lots of bitches and get lots of money. Lots of swag, lots of riz.
That's how it goes.
I more so am just trying to, like, succeed in the thing I've been doing for 11 years.
Well, you've been in the game so long, eventually you gotta win.
Right. They say the best gamblers always give up right before their big win.
Been running on this treadmill, gotta hit the track.
No, I just have never felt like I'm so ready to take it this seriously, especially because I'm in a good position. 2, as all I have to do on the side is my actual job, and that takes no brain power at all. It takes physical power, but it doesn't take any brain power. And it'll give me an opportunity to get out of my house and escape this computer from time to time, so I can come back and do it. And I also plan on, like, announcing at least a week in advance, like, time I will take away from it to rest. Because I have a lot of illnesses that need proper recovery time. It's like a ability in like Overwatch. It's got a cooldown.
Like a Beastie Boy, licensed to ill.
So I have to chill for a little bit on some of it. But it's probably going to be a pretty much like going all 5 days every week for 3 weeks and see how it goes. And change it up if need be. I'm hoping I don't have to change it up because I like it. I'm a big fan personally of the consistency of doing things multiple days in a row. So all 5 of the days are like in a row, and I would like not to have to break it up because my work schedule for my job is also 4 days in a row. So if I can keep those things balanced while also not dying and being able to edit videos at the same time, and also being able to fit eating food in there from time to time, then I'll be good.
If I can spin all of these plates at once.
Yeah, it sounds old, but I've shot for crazier before.
True.
And I've fallen so many fucking times that I literally cannot imagine. I cannot even fathom that I would, like, fall that hard this time. I don't even have that complex in me anymore. I was such a accept defeat kind of person for so many years. And I am no longer so weak. My balls dropped like 6 feet below, and now I'm the shit.
Sometimes there's a piece to being at your limit and going no further.
That's what a lot of this year has been. I've reached my peak limit on things and been like, I finally feel comfortable enough to be fully done with this. It's a good feeling. And I'm also, for some reason, just everything is lining up. I'm trying also not to like let the hype like take over me and overwhelm me. So I'm like going so hard because if I use all my energy like right in the beginning, then I'm eventually just going to like burn out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance that. I'm keeping all these things in mind, using tools such as like writing and also mental tabs on myself. Like, okay, I need to step away and like read a book or something for a couple of hours because otherwise I'm going to look at the screen and my eyes are going to sink back into my head because I, believe it or not, I'm not a fan of sitting at this computer for 12 hours every day.
It does weigh on you.
I actually like hate doing that, but that's why I like having things like books and starting to work out soon and also just like making food or going outside is because that makes my eyes feel a lot better, as well as using things like my glasses and eye drops.
I can't hardly go outside for like multiple reasons. Like my eyes are just like insanely sensitive to sunlight and always have been. Mm-hmm. And my skin is also insanely sensitive to sunlight. So it's just like a double whammy of just like, don't go outside. I'll get a massive headache from the brightness and then I'll get sunburnt.
Why is the brightness so high today?
Somebody turned down the gamma.
My eyes are sensitive to sunlight when I've been in here too long, but if it's like a normie day and I see the sunlight like almost right after waking up, I can kind of like manage it. I use my sunglasses when I go anywhere in like my car. I also developed a strategy like a few years ago that if I wake up and like know that I need to keep myself up, I will like grab above and below my eye with my like fingers and I will like, as if I was zooming in on a picture with an iPhone, I will like spread my eyes open and it actually will like legitimately make my eyes like no longer stiff. It'll like loosen up my eyelids so I can like feel normal when I blink. It works a wonder. I'd give it a try if you're feeling bold.
Yeah, just do a little clockwork oranging and pair it with looking at the sun.
Yeah.
Now, I have some information to report.
I wonder what it could be.
I said it last week. I was going to update here on this week of having retested for my license, and I have passed.
Let's go. Congratulations.
It turns out that when you can just do the driver's test without some crazy person trying to T-bone you, you can actually just pass and do well on the road. And so I did that, and now I can drive, and I drove yesterday, and I might be driving again today.
Let's go.
I can just do it.
Awesome.
Yippee.
You can just do it.
I have to wait for my like actual card, my license to come in. I have like the temporary paper one right now. But yeah, I'm fully licensed. I'm on insurance for that. I'm like all set for the road, and it's exciting.
Hey, if I get a piece of paper that says I can drive and you don't,
Yeah.
Sounds like someone's a bit of a loser and someone's a winner, and it's not you.
I think that the printed license on the paper is actually a better license because it's bigger than the card. So that means that it's a better license.
Yeah. Look at your itty bitty piece of plastic.
Holy.
And look at my big strong paper.
Ha 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 ha.
I still always think about it. I think I've told this story already on the show. I'm not going to go into it again, but when I had my paper license, this is like 2 days after I got my license, somebody rear-ended me on the way home from high school.
You talked about this last week.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Like I said, I'm not going to tell the story again. But that did happen. Yeah, I mean, personally, I love driving. Just my terrible Honda Civic I had for like 3 or 4 years gave me like so much anxiety about cars. Not only that, but my Subaru I have now is also just like has one problem that makes driving anywhere more than 15 minutes away annoying. So I can't like go see my sister/nephew or my parents in my car, even if I want to.
I think the best thing about being able to drive now is that I have like for like the past several years, always living out here, that's like, if I want to get something from the store, if I like just want to like go there myself, I have to walk there. Mm-hmm. But now I don't have to walk to the store anymore in the Arizona heat. It's fantastic. So if I just want to pop down to the shops and pick up a box of Whoppers and a bottle of Amaretto, I can do that.
If I just want to go down to the Starship and pick up some dodos, I can. Yeah, no, being able to drive is incredibly freeing. It's nice. It's just relaxing to be like, especially the kind of people we are. It's nice to just be in a car by yourself for a while.
Yeah.
Even if it's literally like 10 minutes. It's very relaxing. I also like being in stores by myself too. I like just like looking at shit in stores.
Yeah. Getting my license is something that I put off for as long as possible because it was just like it was not a like necessity at any point for me to have my license. Like it was never required for me to get it. But then now recently, like it has become more of a necessity. They're like, I need to have it. So I had to get it as quick as possible. And This is like something that like my family now is realizing that I'm like, yeah, this is just how my fucking brain works. It's ADHD. That's like, it's not like I didn't want to have my license. It's just that like, again, it was lowest priority. And so like, they're now realizing like, oh, so when you actually had to do it, you could do it. It's like, yeah, because I had to do it. And so I could do it.
Crazy. What a concept.
What a concept that when I need to do something, I'll do it.
And when you don't need to, you won't. You're some kind of psycho.
What is wrong with you? You don't want to put yourself through stressful things when it's not immediately warranted? I
would say I'm the absolute opposite, but I literally felt like I had to get my license when I was 16. I got it like right after I turned 16. I was like one of the first people in my class to get their permit and their license because I could not stand not having any independence. So I got a job as fast as I physically could, and I got a license as fast as I physically could. And neither of those really gave me independence. I wasn't really free of dependence until arguably this year, to be honest. But that's how the cookie crumbles. That's what do we had a cookie crumbles.
Everybody's good at cooking something. I'm good at cooking crumble. Would you like some?
Yeah, it's just like when you feel like you can rely on yourself, that's like the best feeling. Like that's a point I'm at right now where I feel like I can cover my own ass in like every field, including money. So I am like waking up every day like, cool, I've got a plan. I'm gonna do all that and then go to bed.
Cool.
Tonight. And that's all I gotta do. Because that's my life and I control all of it because I make my own money. I pay my own rent. I have a car that I could afford to get fixed, but my parents keep telling me they'll pay to get it fixed, even though they keep putting it off. And I have a job, and I also am a huge entertainer of many fames, and so I'm working on that too.
Another day, another victory for creators in our field.
Right. We're all on our rise. 2024 is our year.
Speaking of victories for creators in our field, huge news from Ludwig Ogren and his company Off-Brand. Massive news. If you have not seen the announcement that he made, or if you don't know what Off-Brand is, I'll briefly say that it is a production company, basically, for content creators. So it's like, you know, it's like the A24 or like the Blumhouse or something like that for content creators. And it's like, oh, you got an interesting concept and like a shoestring budget, we'll like put something together for you. I was like, that's where all like these crazy events come from that you've seen, like Doug with like, what was it called? Like Shuffle Master or something like that. All these different events, these streamer events, Point Crow doing like Mario things, like a Mario Party, whatever. All of these have been because of Off-Brand. They are just producing high quality, high production content creator things for all these events. And they announced recently two very exciting things. One, it is now a worker co-op, meaning that everybody who works at Off-Brand has stake and influence within the company. That it's like, it's, you know, a very flat hierarchy. Everybody has like, it's kind of like Valve. I think the funniest way that somebody, I think it was Chet who made Left 4 Dead. He was like, it's not so much that you don't have a boss. It's more like everybody's your boss. So it's kind of like that, but it's like it's a really good thing for like a worker culture. Really good like representation of like just everybody there is going to be treated well. That's like the biggest priority is like everybody who works there will be like treated well and like be equal. It's amazing. It's fantastic. I love everything that Off-Brand is doing. I think it's fantastic that we finally have something like this in the space. Second piece of information of it, second announcement that came along with it. Off-Brand is now opening a thing called Off-Brand Studios, which is basically like what they've been doing for content creators, but for indie devs. And that is being spearheaded by Thor, Pirate Software, who you've definitely seen the clips of on TikTok. He's everywhere. Like, I don't think you can scroll anywhere for more than like 20 minutes without seeing a Pirate Software clip. He's pretty based, and he's like a cool guy. He has like so much experience in the field, and he's going to be the one spearheading that studio. And it's going to be like much in the same way. That it's like, this is for the purpose of making sure everybody is treated fairly and can do cool things.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know anything about this. Also, I wouldn't scroll 20 minutes on TikTok anyway. So, well, I definitely haven't seen it.
TikTok gets worse every time I go on it. It's just more and more trash. And like any creator that actually makes anything interesting on TikTok just keeps getting pushed further away from the platform. Like, because like even there's like a really great creator on TikTok named Yuval. And he does like, he's like kind of on like that like Geo Wizard type shit. He makes a lot of like really well researched videos, and he talks about interesting topics, and that's how he got his start on like his like rise to fame on TikTok, was like talking about interesting topics and making videos on like linguistic things and everything about that. But then he started doing a thing where he would just like he would like find like somebody would like post a video of like a sandwich shop, and they're like, I'm not giving away the location of this hidden gem. You're not going to find where I get these amazing sandwiches. And he'd be like, bet. And he would like look at everything. He would go like crazy GeoGuessr type mode and like find the exact location, even down to the seat they were sitting in when they took the picture. And then he'd like go there and like eat the sandwich and like stuff like that. It was like really fun. And he's an amazing creator. But because TikTok is like, they're really starting to peel back the creator program.
Swamp ass.
Yeah, it is swamp ass. They're peeling back the creator program. They're like the monetization on each of those gets worse and worse and worse with every single video. So it's like less and less rewarding for every new TikTok that like, you know, anybody wants to make. then all these creators that are doing like really cool videos like Yuval, they're being pushed away from the platform because TikTok just isn't doing anything to hold on to them.
We don't like you anymore.
It's like Twitch, where it's just like, oh, there's a different platform offering me anything? Okay, bye. Going to Mixer.
Sure. I mean, we're never going to not have to deal with that.
Oh, yeah.
The longer we do this. And I mean, it's not something I ever think about personally, but it is like, you pay attention when you can, and otherwise, if you just focus on your shit, you'll be golden. But companies don't care about you, so just keep that in the back of your head anytime you do anything.
Yeah. And if you, like, I think, whether or not that really...
companies don't care about your feelings.
However much that actually affects the average person, that it's like, the average person isn't directly affected by TikTok offering less and less monetization for each of these videos, but the average person is affected when the creators on the platform leave because those things are happening. So it's like that there is like this decline over time of the platform. It's like you do kill your platform by killing your creators. Mm-hmm. That is a tale as old as time that has happened with every social media at one point or another. There was even a point where people were jumping ship from YouTube. Like, it never ends. There's always somewhere else that it's like, okay, until you get your shit in order, we're leaving.
Yeah.
But that's just one of those things that, like, sure, this probably isn't going to matter in, like, 10 years. Like, none of this discussion won't even matter in, like, 5 years. Because things will probably be, like, very different in the social media space. Things change a lot. So,
yeah.
It's one of those things that, like, it's kind of like water tank talk, like cooler talk at the office. It's just, like, talking about the weather when you talk about this shit with, like, platforms.
How about that office food?
In the immortal words of Rush, constant change is here to stay. But it's still, like, it's good to talk about it in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it just is relevant. We talk about it, and then something or nothing happens, and we move on, because we're all people, and we all have shit to do.
We all shit.
And we do also all shit. But, you know, I mean, like, I've seen, similar to you, I've seen so many different things happen. It's hard to be surprised. I feel bad sometimes when people, like, talk about stuff and they're shocked by it, and I'm just like, that makes perfect sense to me based on how the world is. But once you get, you know, it just depends on the kind of person you are, because if you're somebody who falls numb in emotion like that, sometimes then it can be hard to talk about stuff that's heavily opinionated, because you don't want to, like, involve yourself too much like that, because you're not as emotionally invested in it.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, it's like, this is changing everything right now, whatever's happening in the creator space or whatever. And I think just, like, as long as I can do the things, like, wherever it is, I will, like, just the things I want to do. But I don't know. I haven't kept up too much with the last, like, few things that happened majorly, I guess. I probably heard about them or something through you, but right now, I'm just making sure I can get to bed and sleep through the night every night. And I didn't even do that last night. Yeah. So I'm here, chilling like a villain named Dylan.
My ice cream is vanillin.
My girlfriend's name is Lilin. I be outside millin'.
Looking for my windowsillin'.
And then I start killing.
I bury them in the ground I start tilling.
They call me silly, but actually I'm sillin'.
I think it is, like, stuff like that minute to minute, like, stresses that happen with these different platforms, and, like, all these, like, the constant drama and change of things in the creator space and in social media, that it is things like that really make me appreciate Off-Brand, like, actually being there for the creators and making sure that, like, people can actually do creative and cool things and not just be, like, if things were just everybody doing whatever makes the algorithm happy, we'd have a million Mr. Beasts. And everybody would just become Mr. Beast and follow that trend and do whatever, and it would be just the worst thing possible. And I'm really glad that there are companies and, like, people that care enough and want to do things enough that we don't end up with that fate, that these creators can, like, actually do what they want to do.
There are still some logical and sensible people at the top, thankfully.
Just a little bit. There's, like, a lot of theories that, like, Mr. Beast is just, like, I don't believe it. I genuinely don't believe like all these theories that are like Mr. Beast shit is like view botted and whatever. Because it's like, yeah, sure. It's like his videos literally can never fail.
I don't.
But that's like, this is the thing. Is like, even if people in America like don't watch a lot of Mr. Beast, like even if he like fails here and like starts to decline in popularity here, his videos are absolutely gigantic overseas. People saying that like his shit is like view botted and whatever, and it's like, oh, there's no way that he's like being that successful. It's like his channels get translated into every language known to man. That's like, he is YouTube's golden boy. Like, he has a specific deal with YouTube where he is like exclusively to the platform making videos because it does so well.
He's Mr. YouTube.
Like, sure, maybe like, oh, Mr. Beast did something a little controversial here in the States, and now people don't want to watch him here in America. He lost like, I don't know, maybe like 100,000 people aren't going to watch him here now. You think that's going to make a difference to all the fucking like middle-aged men on the other side of the globe that are just like, I like it when he spends the big money?
Yeah.
Because that's also just what happens here in the States as well. It's just like, just old people and like children that are just like, look at all that money he spent.
That's hilarious. I don't know. That's honestly a goal of mine. That's kind of just a unwritten rule, or not rule, like an unwritten goal that just comes with what I'm trying to do, is just get so wrapped up in making my content and consuming like normal media, not like internet creator media.
Yeah.
That I just forget all that shit's happening, which has worked generally so far, which is probably why I'm enjoying making my content so much, is because I'm not like looking at other things and comparing my content to it. And you can watch YouTube all the time and compare, or sorry, you can not do that. You can watch tons of internet content, Twitch streamers or YouTubers, and not compare yourself to them. That's something I can like handle nowadays. I just don't like want to. It's really just that I don't want to. As a person, I would much rather sit down and watch a TV show or read a book or sleep or like do the dishes or something else. I'd rather do something more human personally. I know like almost everyone around me has the Chronically Online thing going on, and I wish I could relate, but it almost makes me feel like an odd one out, like a sore thumb that I just do like human shit every day instead of checking the internet. I mean, the most I do is I check like Discord servers in the morning, but I don't like check Twitter or like TikTok in the morning, or really majorly ever. The most I ever go on Twitter is to tweet that I'm going live or tweet that I'm going to go live. But I don't even, like I said, like I'm trying to make my Discord community more active, make it feel like there's a reason to be there, trying to do more events and stuff in there and like watch parties and whatever, because that is part of the whole thing and that matters to me. So that's important, but it's like the closest thing to like an extra social media. I would argue, I would separate it by saying like Twitch and YouTube are my like creative platforms for me to output content to. Discord is the only like social media.
Yeah, it's a communications app
that I use that much. Yeah, it's the only communications method, the only communications medium I use.
Nobody gets famous off Discord.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use it to check the servers I'm in. I use it to manage my server, and I use it to DM people, and that's it. And honestly, I would love to just like forget every other social media. And a lot of my friends have been like, but you should promote your stuff on other social medias. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But also, I kind of hate them existing on my devices. I don't want them there.
Yeah.
And I get like cross promoting for sure. I understand that. Like I said, I've been in this space a long time. I understand that. I've done plenty of different things. And doing clips for TikTok, I'm mostly okay with, because again, it's like YouTube. I don't watch that much, but I go on there to create. And I've thought about doing like TikTok specific shows so that my TikTok account itself is a little more appealing. And besides that, I'm mainly working on the Twitch schedule thing, like I said, and then I will go from there. But I know my limits. I know that I can only take this kind of thing one at a time, so I'm not going to overwhelm myself. And I enjoy doing what I do, and I don't want to stop. And I feel like becoming chronically online again would fuck it all up. And I not only just personally don't have any interest in being online that much. I also kind of fear the idea of it because I have been chronically online before. It made me a lot more judgy of other people and myself.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's just not a good method of consuming art or consuming just shit, I guess. At least for me. I know some people watch YouTubers because there's like, you get like comfort streamers and comfort creators and stuff. And I mean, I have those too, but like, even when I'm on Twitch, there's only a few creators I watch that aren't my friends. And even my friends I don't watch that much, but that's just because I'm not on Twitch that much. It's not like them. The most content I consume is from YouTube in terms of internet, but that's because I've been on it for so long. I've followed the same YouTubers for like over a decade.
I think there is a sort of, maybe like a pattern, whatever you'd call it. There's like a sort of like this thing in the creator space. And it's a lot more common for millennials and ages above for that. And it's less common for Gen Z and Gen Alpha and everybody doing this now. But for a lot of your sort of main pillars of content creation, very popular people who have been on top for a very long time, that are like the people that like we grew up with, they tend to do well because they are not chronically online. And that like there is this pattern of the people who actually have like lives and they do stuff outside of making content. Like they go watch movies, they do whatever, they like actually do stuff in the real world. They tend to do a lot better than people who are chronically online. And there are like a few standout cases, usually among like the younger creators, because people want to like keep, like people who are chronically online gravitate to other people who are chronically online. So you have your people like iShowSpeed and stuff like that, where it's just like occupying that space of being online. But like it does seem that the more time you spend outside of the internet and just like all these like self-obsessive things within these spaces, like the better that it is for you in general. And I think that people latch onto that and can notice that really well when you're not like a chronically online person. Like a lot of the more interesting people that like I watch, I like their stuff. Like they do stuff that isn't watching other people. They do stuff that's like outside of this space completely. And I think that makes them more interesting. Yeah. And I think that in general, like that makes anybody more interesting, because when you're just within this space, only consuming stuff and only making stuff within this space, it kind of becomes a regurgitation. So like the people that I like the most and that I watch the most are the people who like bring the most from outside of that.
Right.
I just think that's good. Like get away from it all. Take a step back.
The more personality you develop by doing normal outer human things in the real world, that just develops your personality more. Than you're a more fun person to be around. That's why people gravitate so much towards those people. I've seen chronically online people be like, damn, I don't know how people like that do it. It's like, you just gotta put the fucking thing down. You gotta turn the computer off or put the phone away for a while. It's really, I know it sounds hard. Trust me, I quit an addiction a few months ago. I know how hard that is. It's just like, you gotta want it. Because if you don't want it, then you can try, but you're probably gonna have more trouble and probably have less likely odds to succeed in gaining any deviation from being chronically online.
Something I've heard from like a lot of creators over the years. This was like more of a talking point that I heard like many, many years back when burnout first started to be like a thing that people would talk about. Like, I think it is like one of the best things to keep in mind within these spaces, that it's like you can only make so much with the life experience that you have. And when you get burnt out of like making stuff or consuming these things online, that's like, you need to go out and live more life before you come back, because otherwise you just have nothing and you're empty and it's just regurgitating. You're just like same garbage out and in, back and forth. You need to go out and live more life before you can share whatever life it is you already have, because you'll run out.
Right, like you gotta take a vacation to appreciate being at home that much.
Yeah.
Just to speak metaphorically, but also literally. I mean, like, what makes being in my room and doing this shit as tolerable as it does is because I make an effort to get out of here a lot on normal days, even if it's just like out of the room in the apartment. And me having a job, spending 6 hours, 4 days in a row there, I come home and I want to like fucking marry my bed. It's like, just my comfort zone. I've always been the kind of person that, like, I can really live anywhere in any kind of home as long as I have my stuff and I can use it all.
I'll leave this as we close out here. A nice little thought experiment for you, or rather just something to think about, to take with you if you are a person who is chronically online or you feel like you spend too much time on the internet. Think about the past year of your life, the past 365 days, and ask, in all that time you spent online, how many stories do you have to share? How many experiences can you relate to other people that are unique to you, that you lived through and you experienced? How many stories do you have? And I will leave you with that thought.
Think about that, and go to YouTube and tell us in the comments, and then look at your answer and think about it.
And after you think about it, leave another comment that says, "Thank you for watching Closing Shift, episode 20. See you again next week."
See you then.